In this short presentation, I'm going to show you how I used this little known yet simple technique to investigate the potential market for an app idea that I had. So the backstory is that at this point, I had launched an app prior to this that had failed dismally. It had really failed. I'd lost a lot of money. I'd gone into market thinking I knew exactly what people wanted, but I had no idea. So this little campaign was all about understanding what people wanted in the new idea that I had, and it was a way of tapping into my future customers to hear what they were looking for before I even built it. Needless to say, at the end of this, you'll find out how this app went on to be crowned the best app in Africa in 2012, and was featured on all these really cool news outlets all over the internet. So Zimbao was an idea I came up with after the failed idea of property gone Mobi, the one I mentioned in relation to agents being able to turn their websites into mobile websites. I simply said, well, if I refactor that code and I apply it to a new market in Africa, I'm sure I'd get an uptake, but I wasn't going to make the same mistake. I really wanted to know what people were looking for before I invested any more time or money into that project. So the way Zimbao was designed to work is effectively I would allow anyone with content to apply it into Zimbao and produce one of these nice little mobile websites that were designed slim with only one image, one color, and they would load all in one go and allow you to view the mobile the content on the mobile device. This is at a time when the internet in Africa was really bad, and you needed to have really what do you call it? You needed to have content that wasn't too heavy on the mobile device because the internet was really slow. So anyway, moving on, I created a landing page. Essentially, I call this a dumb landing page. All it was a mock-up of what my website would look like once I went live. This is what I thought the market was looking for at the time, and I was going to use that as a way to understand, kind of to entice the users into believing that this was a real website at the time. So it was a single standalone site or page, and the only interactive part on this page was the fact that you could enter your email address and start building your website. And of course, what would have happened is if you entered your email address, you would land on the old Property Gone Mobi site, and you would create a website but under a different domain. But I wasn't willing to spend any more time converting Property Gone Mobi into Zimbao until I knew what people were looking for. So this was all done just for the experiment. So next I'm just going to share with you the exact steps that I took to get to that point where I could start harvesting the data and obviously end up converting actual customers off a research campaign. So the first step was basically to come up with a set of keywords. So I call these seed keywords. These are keywords keywords relating to, or key phrases relating to what you think people are actually looking for in your industry. Whatever it is, you could be selling, shoes. You may want to type in, shoes for ladies, shoes for men, shoes for people with big feet, whatever the thing it is that you think people are looking for in relation to your product. At this time, I thought, users were looking for, how to design a mobile website, how to upgrade to a mobile website, and so on and so on. So I entered those as I created a list of, I think, about 200 keywords or key phrases, thanks to, some of the Google tools out there that help you with some of these keywords. The second step I did is I set up this automated online research campaign that I mentioned, and I keep mentioning that you hear about in the course. But essentially, it's a 10-day exercise in which you're basically listening out to the internet to hear exactly what people are typing. And from this exercise, I picked up what all my future customers were looking for and exactly which countries they were looking for this information from, and how and I got to understand a lot about them, about my potential customers. So that's step 2 effectively, is that you will get to understand exactly what your customers are looking for before you start applying all that knowledge onto your project. So after the 10 days, I basically harvested the data, and all it was grabbing the data and and analyzing it for detail, for to understand trends, look at how many people looked for what, where they were coming from, what times of the day they came, what countries they were coming from, which keywords they actually typed in. All that data was amazing because it helped me move on to the next step, which is step 4. Step 4 was basically grabbing all that harvested information, using it in my long tail SEO strategy. I added that knowledge into the product idea. So basically I got to know exactly what they were looking for, and I was able to change little things in my software when I actually then did build Zimbal that would allow them to do exactly what they were looking for. And therefore, it's a match made in heaven. If someone's looking for something and you give them exactly what they want, they're gonna go for it. So at the end of it, oh yeah, of course, and this in step 4, you were then able to create traffic driving focused blogs. So essentially, I learned things like the language that people use in certain countries, the little nuances that you would never know because you're not from those areas of the world. So I learned little ways on how I would market in different territories, how I would reach certain people, and so on and so on. And this is a quick snapshot of the conversions that came through during that 10 days. So in just 10 days of running this campaign, I managed to pick up over 232 signups in just 10 days, which was absolutely phenomenal. Of those 232 signups, over 125 mobile websites were created during that time. And that really, really solidified the fact that there was a market out there for me. And I was able to actually spend some time developing Zimbal properly.